What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of 1 and 0. And just a side note before we get started with anything. So, I just put my hat on because like 3 weeks ago, I got a terrible haircut. And so that's why I'm wearing a hat in every video. So, I was just thinking when my hair is actually good, like I'm not bald up here, it's you'll actually get to see my hair. Of course, a lot of you guys that are listening to already know me, so you can see my hair, but for maybe some of you guys who just found me on YouTube or through Twitter or whatever, you'll be finally able to see it. But anyways, let's get right into today's show. So we'll talk a little bit of Spurs, and then we'll do our bowl predictions for week 2. We've got a whole nother week of bowls. We won't do Ohio State and Clemson, and then of course Bama and Notre Dame, because that'll be its own separate episode later in the week, probably coming out Thursday, because that's when the next Spurs game against the Lakers is. So jumping right into it, the Spurs lost their first game of the season. Unfortunately, it was a tough one, and I didn't really. This game was very different, like in comparison to the other two games. Obviously, once again, as I've been saying every single time, and as all of you know, as basketball fans and specifically as Spurs fans, it's the beginning of the season, so everything can kind of be taken with a grain of salt. But you can't get little inklings, right, of information about the team. So here's the big stat, right? In my opinion, when you look at this, and probably if you're a Spurs fan, when you look at the stat sheet, this is what you're seeing. 8 points from DeMar DeRozan, 4 points from LaMarcus Aldridge. Other big question for this game. I know that DeJounte Murray had a tough time with turnovers. He had 6 tonight for the Spurs, and there was basically like a turnover timeout. The Pop put him in for like the entire third quarter. But the problem is while those turnovers were happening, he went 6 for 9 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3, 7 boards, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 13 points. And there was one point in the fourth quarter when he came in and just scored 3 straight buckets. So I'm just like, look, I get the turnovers were happening. Like, I saw it and I was frustrated. That's something that we've noticed in the past 2 games from DeJounte. But I feel like if you leave him in, he scores 2 more buckets, and then you win the game. So that's how I feel about that one. I don't know how you guys feel, so let me know in the comments and all that stuff. At me on Twitter at Jude McClaren if you have a different take on DeJounte. But that was mine. Let's look at some of the other players in the game. Keldon Johnson, honestly, played great. 5 for 10 overall shooting, 2 for 5 from 3, 11 boards, 5 assists, 14 points. You love that from Keldon, so not on him. Lonnie, 4 from 7 from 3. He looks like a sniper from 3 out there to start the season. If we've been watching it, Spurs fans, we know that Lonnie Walker, I mean, he's got that, that thing on him, if you get what I'm saying. And if y'all saw my hand gesture on the YouTube video, if you're listening on audio, go check that out. You'll get yourself a laugh. But 16 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, nothing crazy, but still 6 for 14, a little bit under 40%, but those 4 for 7 from 3 and the 16 points, I mean, that's all you can ask out of Lonnie. There were a couple mid-range jumpers that he missed off the dribble, but a lot of times when he's in rhythm, those are going to go down. So once again, Keldon upped his game, Lonnie upped his game, DeJounte had the turnovers, but overall played well other than that. Rudy Gay went for 22 on not even great shooting. Patty, another great game, 10 points, 2 threes, 3 for 6 overall, right? Jakob had his best game of the season, 8 boards, 8 points. And honestly, I mean, when you look at this game, it's crazy to think about this, but there were a couple wide open jumpers that Devin Vassell missed that usually in rhythm he'd make. They were all short tonight, so I don't know. It was just one of those nights for the Rook. But I mean, he makes 2 of those. Once again, a Spurs W. You're down by 3. So here's the thing. Regardless of the young guys' mistakes tonight, they did what they needed to do. I mean, if Derek White's playing this game, I think once again this is a win for the Spurs. But this is why I've been so frustrated with DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge, because they're going to put up stinkers like this against the Pelicans. Like, I get they have Zion, but for the most part, I mean, other than Brandon Ingram going for 28 and 11, he still shot 9 for 23. Zion 7 for 22, 11 rebounds. Keldon did a phenomenal job on Zion Williamson. I mean, if you can hold Zion to that much, that's pretty good. I mean, and you're in the game too. I mean, you got to be happy about that. We got to be happy about that. Let's see. Josh Hart, 10 rebounds for him. You don't necessarily want that from a shooting guard. Was left open a couple times, or really only one time for that 3. So that was, you're keeping him in control. Maybe Lonzo scored too many points, more than he usually did, right? But as a Spurs fan, we're looking at this and we're like, this is, overall, this is a great game. Like, defensively, the best defensive game of the season so far. But DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge, they're just, I mean, DeMar played decent, and he had 10 assists. I will give him that. But this is LaMarcus's second meh game, and the first game wasn't even that great. So what we're seeing out of LaMarcus Aldridge is that he's 35 years old and that he's just a more LaMarcus Aldridge version of LaMarcus Aldridge that we've got since he's been in San Antonio, other than year one with Kawhi, as we've mentioned before on this show. So really, those are the main takeaways from that game. I'll give you all some of my reactions that I wrote down. I went through this before on another episode, and I think these are pretty funny. Hopefully you guys do too. Tell me what you like of these in the comments. Here's my Spurs notes throughout the game. Lonnie's shooting, so once again, looks like a sniper out there. DeJounte's turnovers. So see, even though I'm kind of hyping up DeJounte a little bit, I noticed the turnovers. Like, I get the frustration, but I don't really think it was warranted of taking him off the floor for that long. Granted, he did still play 31 minutes, so I don't know how much that was them taking him off the floor for that, but I mean, maybe if he's in the game for 4 more minutes, gets 2 more buckets. It was just such a close game, but really the reason is DeMar and LaMarcus, and really just LaMarcus, because it's like, this is a back-to-back. You know, we're watching this, and DeMar carried last night, and we see he did what he needed to do passing the ball. 2 more shots, LaMarcus. And how many? Let's go back. Well, first of all, he only shot 7 times. Didn't make a 3. Only 4 rebounds, too. Like, come on, dude. Like, what is this? And they only played him for 20 minutes. Honestly, probably a good thing. Shake my head, man. I'm sure that's how you guys feel, too. Jakob's best game so far. This is in the first half. We noticed that. We see that at the end of the game, too. Jordan logo. Oh, yeah. On the Spurs Grays jerseys, they added the Jordan logo. Why? I hate to say it. That made the jersey uglier than it already was. Disagree with me. Tell me in the comments. But that's how I felt about it. LaMarcus is so bad. That's what I wrote down. LaMarcus is so bad. And this is the second straight game where it's happened, y'all. Like, he's... hopefully it gets better throughout the season because this is not good. Rudy popping. I mean, that's what he was doing. He had a contested 3 in, I think, Brandon Ingram's face, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's what I love to see, Rudy. Good God, DeMar on that block. That was right before halftime. And he's, okay, had a bad offensive game, right? Put up a little bit of a stinker. But since that first game where we talked about his lack of effort on defense along with LaMarcus's hasn't changed. DeMar's defense has stepped up in these past 2 games. I have to give him credit. So yeah, sometimes you're going to have a bad night shooting, but he found ways to contribute on the defensive end and passing the ball as well. So, you know, I'm going to give DeMar a mulligan here. Lonnie is a really good shooter. The second time, yeah, Chip England has been working him, and he can be that. I mean, in people's face, he'll knock it down, and it'll just be no problem. 4 for 7, once again. I mean, that's great. Year 3 for Lonnie, so really year 2, like playing. Or is this? I don't even. Yeah, this is year 3 for Lonnie. That's crazy. Young guy turnovers is the reason we're losing. -- worth it. That. I mean, tell me different, guys, but I feel like they were also the reason that we're in the game. That's how I'm feeling about that one. All right, so here's the second half. DeMar still not passing to wide open 3s. That was only really one instance I saw, and it was Keldon. So still gets caught up in possessions that he just wants to be his, but hopefully at the same time still had 10 assists. So like, and I know the stat sheet doesn't tell the whole story, but that shows that he was passing. You know what I'm saying? You guys know. Didn't like the lineups as much in this game. I agree. I want to see more DeJounte, Keldon, Lonnie out there. That's what I want to see with Rudy and Jakob. I want to see more of that lineup, and just even with Patty out there in those 3. I want to just see more of those 3 on the floor together. I can't wait until Derek's back. When Keldon started ball handling, good things happened to end the third. They were down by the most they had been in the entire game. The reason they got back in it is because Keldon started ball handling. They cut it to I think a single-digit game. Cut it to 9 points before the third. They put DeJounte in. He gets 3 buckets on his own, and then they come back, take the lead. They'll ultimately end up losing. But Keldon and then DeJounte comes back in and cooks. This is what I wrote. DeJounte comes back in and cooks. Screw a turnover timeout. Because they put him in turnover timeout. And I don't care. I feel like if they left him out there and played his normal minutes, he would have got 2 more buckets because he was cooking tonight. What a pass, Keldon. That was another phenomenal play by Keldon Johnson. At one point, he's like midway through like the other side of the court, and he just jumps up and flings like a half-court pass to Rudy Gay on the money. Easy assist. Keldon Johnson is literally Spurs Jesus incarnate. He's the wild Mustang in the world of Bill Land, and we love him so much. Okay, Rudy cooking. DeJounte makes everyone on the floor better. That's facts. I've been saying that for years. Some of you may have been saying that for years, but when he is on the floor, I don't know what he does. His passing's better this year, but when you watch DeJounte, we see good things happen other than the turnovers. But, that's going to go away, and he has to play through that. So no more turnover timeouts for DeJounte. Terrible last possession. Great fight by the young guys. Didn't have a defender for Brandon Ingram. Those are really honestly the 3 things. Because at the end, there was no reason the Spurs should have even been in the game, but Keldon almost gets a steal. Keldon and DeJounte on that inbound, able to tip it from Brandon Ingram. And who comes and picks it up? Lonnie Walker. This is why we're waiting for Derek White to come back, because he's just going to, like, in the bubble, he looked like the best out of those 4. As much as I love DeJounte, you guys have seen me in the jersey, I'm just kind of like, I know that, like, I in my heart, I feel like Derek might be the best out of all of them. You guys tell me what you think. But from what we saw in the bubble, he looked like it. So when he comes back, bro, like, they're winning these games. It's, get rid of DeMar. No, maybe not DeMar, but just never. LaMarcus needs to never touch the floor again. I'm once again I'm back on the train. Y'all, I'm back on the train. We're back on the train if you're listening. Play Drew Eubanks instead of LaMarcus Aldridge. I'm serious though. The thing is, I'm not playing. Like, it seems like a meme, but I'm not playing. Play Drew Eubanks over LaMarcus. This is going to be a clip, and if you're watching it right now, thank you. All right. That's really all I have for that Spurs game. It was a weird one. Drew Eubanks would have got 4 points tonight. I think, how many points did LaMarcus have? Yeah, LaMarcus had 4. Drew Eubanks would have got 8. Easy. We saw him literally take Thanasis Antetokounmpo's life on the floor. When was the last time LaMarcus Aldridge has ever done that? Like, he hasn't done that as a Spur. Drew Eubanks better than LaMarcus Aldridge for the Spurs. Confirmed. That's what I'm saying. All right, let's talk about some of these other bowl games we got coming up and make some predictions. Well, first, let's review how we did last week. So, 1-0. Thanks for listening. With Appalachian State in North Texas. Then we went 0-2 with Nevada and BYU. So we're 1-2. But then we went 2-0 the next day with Georgia Southern and Memphis. That puts us at 3-2. I actually got this one wrong. So then we're 3-3. Hawaii beat Houston. They beat the crap out of them. I should have picked. That's one I'm actually kicking myself for not picking. I don't mind myself on Tulane and UCF. Like, I feel good about those picks. I should have picked Hawaii. I had a feeling. Obviously, not enough feeling, but so 3-3. And then 3-4 because I picked Marshall too. Wow. But then, oh no, everything doesn't get better. I was about to say things get better. Things get better with the Sun Belt until Liberty and Coastal. So let me review here. So we're 1, 2, 3. Wow. So we're okay. 3-4. 3-4, pain. Then we got Louisiana and UTSA. And then we got Georgia State and Western Kentucky. So that puts us at 5-3. But then we got Liberty Coastal wrong. So 5-4. Not the greatest, but we came out over 500. We got a winning record going into week 2. So let's predict these games real quick. Okay, so we got some Power 5 matchups finally. Tuesday, Oklahoma and Miami, or Oklahoma State, excuse me. I'm going Miami in this one. I think De'Aaron King's going to come out with a vengeance. He's coming back, and I just think that the ACC is better than Oklahoma State. I think Miami has played better teams than Oklahoma State has. I think that North Carolina might be better than any big team in the Big 12, and Clemson for sure is. So I'm going Miami. Texas, Colorado. I could see Texas beating the crap out of Colorado. I hope Colorado wins, but it's not going to happen. Texas by a lot. Okay. Wake Forest in Wisconsin. I got Wisconsin in this one, probably by more than 7 that Vegas has given them. But Wisconsin in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. All right. Iowa, Missouri, that got canceled. Pain. Then we've got Florida and Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl Classic. So Vegas has got Florida by 3. I think it might be more than that. I think it might be a lot more than that. But also Oklahoma's a sneaky team that could come in and just win this game because Florida's just like, meh, we're not in the playoff. So I'm going to go Florida, but if they win, I think it'll be by more than 3. And honestly, I feel pretty confident about that. I think they'll win this game by around like 10 points. Oklahoma will hang around, but Florida might. There's a chance Florida might blow them out, depending on who's playing. Is Kyle Trask? I think Kyle Trask is playing in this game. So Kyle Pitts might not be, but I mean, I don't know. If Kyle Pitts is in LSU beat Florida, so maybe not, but we'll have to see. But I'm going to go Florida regardless. Then on Thursday, we got Tulsa, Mississippi State. I think this is a close game. I could see Mississippi State winning it, but I'm gonna roll Tulsa here. Vegas is giving them 2.5. I think they'll get the dub, and they might win it by like a touchdown. We'll have to see. Ball State, San Jose State, undefeated national champions, San Jose State, all the way. They're winning by 50. Not actually. I like the line at them by about 10. I like that. I could see them winning by more. 14 would be reasonable too. West Virginia at Army. So these next 2 games are some upset picks. These are the ones when I was looking at it, I was like, all right, this is what we're going to do. As the 1-0 fan base, we're picking Army to beat West Virginia. They're going to outmuscle them. They're going to outstrength them. They're a better team. They play better as a team. Big 12 ain't got nothing on Army. Arkansas and TCU. Arkansas with Felipe Franks and Sam Pittman, they're winning this game. We could be wrong because Max Duggan's pretty good. But we're rolling with Arkansas because I think that they're better than their record. They've got arguably a more talented quarterback who's faced better defenses throughout his career, and I think they've got more energy around the program. You know, Gary Patterson's just Gary Patterson. I mean, he dominates Tom Herman, but that's about all that he does. So we're rolling with Arkansas in that one. Then we got Friday. We got the pain game of the week, Georgia and Cincinnati, Georgia. We, as the 1-0 fan base, love the group of 5, and we support them, and we pray before bed that Cincinnati wins this game. But Georgia's getting the dub, unfortunately. Auburn and Northwestern. See, this is a fun one. This is another one that we're looking at, and I'm not sure, because you have this Auburn team that could potentially have some juice with a new coach, be really motivated, come in feeling disrespected, and they're playing a team that was in the Big Ten championship. So something to prove. But Northwestern also seems like the safer pick, right? You got Northwestern. They had a rough go about in that Big Ten championship, but they competed, had a lead for a while. And, they've got a program, they've got a coach, they've got a culture. Auburn's just kind of in limbo. I'm going Auburn. I wasn't sure, honestly, until I was just thinking about this, and I was thinking about safe picks, and I just don't think that Northwestern can score as much as Auburn. I think Bo Nix is better than whatever Northwestern's quarterback name is. What's his name? Peyton Ramsey, 9 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. They just run the ball the whole time. And I get Bo Nix, 11 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So not that much better. But I think that their running back, their receiver, Tank Bigsby's better than whoever the Anderson kid is. Seth Williams is better than whatever receiver Northwestern has. And Bo Nix is better than Peyton Ramsey. And their defense is better than Northwestern. Auburn all the way. We'll get into Notre Dame, Alabama, and Ohio State, Clemson on Thursday's episode. That'll be coming out after the Spurs-Lakers game as well. And then on Saturday, we've got our last week of bowls, North Carolina State and Kentucky. Kentucky's actually, like, Vegas is giving Kentucky the edge here. Kentucky's good. They're not that good. North Carolina State, I like in this one. ACC beating the SEC in the Gator Bowl. Indiana, Ole Miss. This is another intriguing one because of the fact that Indiana is not with Michael Penix Jr., and Ole Miss can score in bunches. But I'm going IU in this one. They're by 6.5. I think you guys should go IU as well. They're just the better overall team. When we look at this, it's like, yeah, Ole Miss can score in bunches, but Matt Corral can also throw 5 interceptions in a game against a historically bad defense, even if it's in the rain. So IU, just better overall team. Oregon and Iowa State. Iowa State, easy. When we look at this one, guys, Oregon just hasn't played as much as Iowa State. And more importantly, Oregon has not played the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns. Therefore, they're not even a college football team. Texas A&M and North Carolina. North Carolina all the way. Texas A&M favored by 7. They're going to come into this game, we feel disrespected, and then North Carolina is going to pop them in the mouth. We've seen this story before with Texas and Utah, where the players are tweeting about how they're disrespected. First of all, before we even move on, we mentioned Utah, Rip Ty Jordan. Horrible, tragic situation. Just want to say that. Anyways, getting back to things. Once again, we've seen this movie before with that Utah team that got blown out by Texas. North Carolina is going to do the same to this Texas A&M team. 1, because they're better, and 2, because I lost words there, but Texas A&M, they got a better quarterback. They got some better running backs, even though Javonte Williams isn't playing in this one. And A&M's just, they're not that explosive. They just win games, which is cool, but they're not that. They don't have the firepower that North Carolina does. Once again, North Carolina's better. A&M's going to come out thinking that they should be playing a better team in a better game and not realize that North Carolina is actually really good. So, those are our picks for Bowl Week. Thank you guys so much for coming in to today's episode of 1-0. My name is Jude McClaren. You can follow me on Twitter for all the sports talk and all that stuff at Jude McClaren. And then you can follow Strive on Instagram at the Strive Network. You can also follow at Strive Network on TikTok. I'm going to be real with y'all. I don't like TikTok. It's kind of annoying. But I also see its value for creators, and I appreciate what it does for that because, you don't have to be a super huge platform to get views there and to get eyes, which is something that is super cool for organic growth and reach. So I do appreciate it for that. Don't consume any content on it, but we do post content on there with clips from the show and all that good stuff. So follow us on all of our socials. At me on Twitter, tell me what I'm wrong about. Hit me up in the comments, tell me what picks I'm wrong about, or tell me you agree with me. Talk about the Spurs, all that stuff. We'll be back on Thursday after the Spurs, or we might be back earlier with some other bowl games. We'll have to see. But yeah, we'll be back definitely on Thursday with Spurs-Lakers review and a college football playoff preview. Also, side note before we leave, one more thing. I won my fantasy football championship today. First time ever. Been playing for a little bit. Took a break. I played really at the beginning of like high school and like the end of middle school when I had some buddies that were into sports. Then I joined speech and debate and didn't have as many friends in sports, so there was no leagues I could join. And then I got back into it. Last year, didn't really know the NFL. Actually, past 2 years, didn't know the NFL, but played anyway. This year, kind of knew the NFL, paid attention, watched some highlights, studied the film, had a good draft, got the 1 seed, went 10-2, barely won in the semifinal and the final, but it doesn't matter because we got the W and the chip. Not that y'all care that much, but that was my little ramble there. So anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. You've gone 1-0, and I'll catch you guys next time.